Welcome back, fans of the GBA. No, you haven't reached the Dead Sea, you're just watching the saltiest show on the GBA channel, Big Deal or No Big Deal, where we look at different moments of hacks throughout the week and determine whether they were pivotal to the match or if they were no big deal. A bit of a short one this week with a lack of notable hacks. Regardless, let's jump right into it.
Right on the way for 3 weeks in a row, we have the Melbourne Rotoms, this time in his match against the Borussia Donphan. After switching in his Lurantis to take on Aaron's Mega Swampert, Lars feels comfortable enough to start firing off Leaf Storms. Not wanting to lose Swampert, however, Aaron chooses to switch in Ludicolo, which is able to take this Leaf Storm just a little bit better. Feeling the need to prove itself, however, Ludicolo chooses to get out of the way of the barrage of leaves coming its way. Later on in the match, Aaron uses Ludicolo to take on Lars's Kyurem as it is Assault Vest and is a decent HP, meaning that it is able to take multiple Ice Beams and KO the Kyurem in return. Kyurem decides that enough is enough, however, and gets a critical hit with the Ice Beam on the Ludicolo, proving revenge is a dish best served Kroll.
So again, we get a match with two pieces of hacks that kind of cancel each other out. The Leaf Storm, had it connected, would have done 27 to 31.6% or 42 to 49 HP of damage. The Ice Beam from Kyurem, when it doesn't crit, does 49 to 58 HP or 31.6 to 37.4%. This is assuming no investment on Ludicolo, just it having an Assault Vest. With the critical hit, it ends up doing 73 to 87 HP or 47 to 56.1%. Had the Leaf Storm connected, the crit would have been entirely superfluous, as the Leaf Storm plus Ice Beam does more than just the crit Ice Beam. Taken on their own, each of these are big deals, as they could have shifted the tide of the battle, but in the context of the battle as a whole and these two coming together, they turn out to be no big deal.
In our second game of the week, we have the Columbus Chew versus the San Diego Chim Chargers. Hoping to not be let down yet again by Sneasel, Coach Z decides that the best use of his turn was to go for a Choice Banded Icicle Crash onto Envy's Mega Pinsir. Wise to Flying's poor matchup to the Ice type, Envy chooses to not Mega Evolve his Pinsir. By not Mega Evolving, Pinsir can take the Icicle Crash with gusto, and get a Moxie boost in the process. In a moment of deja vu, Sneasel fails to connect it to Icicle Crash, sending Coach Z into a high-pitched rant as Sneasel drops to a close combat.
As Coach Z said in his video, Pinsir would have taken about 60%, 66.2 to 78.6%, assuming Adamant Choice Band. Given that Pinsir doesn't take any damage for the remainder of the game, the only way this would have mattered is either A, if Sneasel managed to score a critical hit, or if B, it managed to flinch with the Icicle Crash. Now, while either of those outcomes do have a good chance of happening, this show exists because we know that they have a good chance of happening, it seems a little unreasonable to say that the hacks mattered because different hacks could have happened otherwise. So because the Icicle Crash didn't actually impact any damage calcs because Pinsir, again, didn't take any damage either from hazards or from attacks, and it doesn't really seem reasonable to justify a missed opportunity of hacks as being a big deal, we can call this one no big deal.
Moving on to everyone's favourite section of the show, we have Haxiest Player of the Week. So we actually have a tie for third and second, the New Orleans Pelipers and the Borussia Donphan. So the Borussia Donphan got a critical hit from Cobalion onto a Pelipper with an Iron Head, and as we mentioned in the show, a critical hit Ice Beam from Kyurem onto the Ludicolo. Now, John had a critical hit U-turn from the Tornadus onto Alamola, and a critical hit Ice Shard from Piloswine to Scizor.
And before we get into our Haxiest Player of the Week, we would like to give some congratulations to our least Haxie Players of the Week: Philadelphia Scizors, coached by Chimpack, the Kansas City Jiraachis, coached by Jolt, and the Columbus Chew, coached by none other than Coach Z. So these three coaches managed to get no hacks in their favor this week, thus proving themselves our least Haxie coaches. And now for our Haxiest Coach of the Week, we would like to congratulate for the second time Crimson Seabad and the Detroit Steel Wings. Now, Crimson managed to achieve this feat this week by dodging a Seed Flare from Shaman, getting a special defense drop on Toxapex with Kofagrigus, and finally getting a second special defense drop on Toxapex with Kofagrigus.
And with that, that concludes Big Deal or No Big Deal for Week 3. What are your conclusions on the hacks, and do you believe we omitted any hacks worth discussing? Thank you for watching, and see you next week.